Council, are we ready to continue the proceedings? We are. You may please proceed.
Yes, we are, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Witness. I hope you had a good lunch.
Thank you, yes, ma.
Are you ready to proceed?
Exactly.
You're still reminded that you're under oath.
Okay.
During your previous testimony, you mentioned the burial of the November 11th victims. Is that correct?
Yes, it is correct.
You mentioned that when the bodies were brought, and prior to the burial, actually, you went back to your office.
Exactly.
Can you just tell us what happened after you went back to your office?
Whilst in my office, not quite too long, one of my provosts, that is the regimental police, came to me. The regimental police is late now, may he so rest in perfect peace. That is Kopul Fafayop. Came to me and said to me that, Sir, RSM Gomez said you can provide him with men.
Can you tell us who RSM Gomez was? Give us his full name, please.
RSM Gomez is Paul Gomez. He was the Army RSM at the time, assigned, in fact, deployed in Banjul. That is at the main headquarters.
Was he known by any other name?
He is commonly known as Papu.
Please proceed.
Well, when this RP came into my office and then told me that RSM Gomez Papu said you provide more men for the burial. I mean, in my office, I told him go to the QRF sergeant and tell him to provide men for whatever, maybe for the burial. So the RP left because, like I said, during that mood, I was completely, I was in a very terrible situation. So the RP left, and I could not see him again. He did not come back again to tell me whether he has relayed the message to the QRF sergeant or not. So this is where the whole thing ends. So immediately from there, I was in the office. So I said to myself, since all the men have gone to that place there, and then I've been the RSM, let me also go and then see what was happening there.
So where did you go to?
I went towards the cookhouse end. So immediately upon arrival there, and he Fafa Job saw me, then he came to me and then spoke to me in Wolof that, sir, can you go to QRFB? Meaning that there was nobody in the QRF block, and that is unusual. So I myself noticed when I was going there, because when I peeped, because from my office, if you come out of my office, you turn left, you know, between the guard room and the next block is the QRF block. So I noticed that the QRF was virtually empty. I could only, you know, saw only few people. That is one Sergeant Cisse. He was a former, you know, TRRC. He had a hand problem. So he was the one I saw there with some, you know, soldiers, very few soldiers, not knowing that everybody, you know, had gone towards the cookout. So immediately when I arrived there, you know, he approached me and told me, sir, so chila fatel lolu, fateko. So I told him, just forget it. So that was all.
Can you please proceed? What happened next?
So upon my arrival there, RSM did not tell me anything. He did not tell me anything. And then the condition in which I found the soldiers was devastating, because it's like their morals were down. Morals were down. Very sad, you know, in a very quiet mood. All right. But then the burial was on. The second thing that I noticed was, the orderlies to the council when doing the burial. One, they all had their rifles, slung behind. Like you get your rifle and then you sling it, the rifle being behind and then the sling in front. And they were doing the burial. Some of them, they had their headdresses under their shoulder flips. And the burial was on.
Can you give us the names of the orderlies who were doing the burials?
Good. JCB was there. Lamin Fati.
JCB who?
JCB Mendy.
What was his rank?
JCB Mendy, I think he's a private soldier.
And who
JCB Mendy was there. Bach Samba was there. That is Lance Corporal Bach Samba, the driver, was there. In fact, he was using dark glasses, and then even JCB also was wearing dark glasses. Lamin Fati was there. I could see even Koli there.
What's his first name?
Lamin Koli. Lamin Koli.
Who was Lamin Koli?
Was I think he's a corporal, a medic sort of. He's a medic. Lamin Fati was there.
What's his rank? Lamin Fati.
Lamin Fati. Then he was, if I'm not mistaken, he was a sergeant, either a corporal or a sergeant. Lamin Fati. He's now the 2IC in Union Barracks. And then people like Suso, but Suso, Alfred Suso, I don't know whose orderly he was, but Alfred Suso was there.
What was his rank?
Actually, you see, some of these guys, they don't wear their ranks. They don't wear their ranks those days. Okay? So...
do you know one Esa Mendy?
Ensa Mendy. He
Esa
was there, yes.
Mendy.
Yes, he was there. He was there.
Do you know his rank?
No, I can't remember his rank. Then Babanjai was there. They were, and then also RSM Gomez. That is, RSM Gomez was also there. So obviously, they were the one doing the burial.
Can you tell us what RSM Gomez was doing?
Virtually, RSM Gomez was the one who was with these guys, with these orderlies. Because if you look at it, Yundum Barracks was under me as the RSM, because you can only have one RSM at a time in the camp. So RSM Gomez came, to Yundum. Under what, instructions, definitely I don't know. I only saw him, working with these, orderlies to the council, and then also coordinating with whatever movement it was going on. And then...
what was he doing at the burial site, RSM Gomez?
He was actually, telling these people to, do the burial. Because I could remember Bach Samba Jallo saying that, I think the process was slow. The process was slow. And then he was saying in Mandinka that Alka Manyadila, Alka Malako Musul, Altaria, Mantai Musura. Meaning that, how are you behaving? You are behaving like women. Hurry up, because we don't have time.
So you can say he was supervising the burial?
Yeah, yes. So for me, actually, when I saw that, and then knowing fully well that my QRF, it is unusual for the men to abandon the QRF because, like, they are always on standby for any movement. So that was the time when I noticed that the QRF was empty, virtually empty. I, started to, insert my RPs to get the men out, for them to go back to the QRF block.
You mentioned one SR Mendy. You mentioned that you knew him. Did he have any other names by which he was called?
No, Mendy.
Do you know if he was referred to as Churo?
Who else?
Okay. No, do you know the phrase Churo?
Churo.
That's the question, yes.
No, hope you are not mixing, because I think Churo is either. No, Churo was also there. Yes, Churo.
Who was Churo?
Churo was an oddly to Edward Singate, Captain Edward Singate, I think.
Do you know his name? That must have been a nickname. Do you know his proper name?
Is it Ture? But he's quite widely known as Churo, definitely. Yes.
Does Mustafa Ture ring a bell?
Good. Good.
Is that his name?
Yes, yes.
That
yes.
is Churo.
Yeah.
So it is correct that both Esa Mendy and Churo were there
Mm.
at the burial site?
Yes, and then also plus one Albert Mendy, but he's late now.
What was
I
his
think
rank?
Corporal Albert Mendy. They were also there. So coupled with a lot of people, those days, like I said, you have the TSG personnel and then the GNA box together, and I mean, you could see the number, down there. So, and then also like it was very difficult to know the actual people that were there.
So it is correct that you never provided any men for the burial?
I would never provided, because when I noticed that the QRF was empty, and then by, confronted by Couple Fafajub, who told me that, sir, QRF Kennekufa, so chila kone baiko, fateko. So, in fact, that was the end of the story.
Just give us a translation of that, please.
QRF Kennekufa by Kennekufa, meaning that in the QRF there was nobody.
What would you say to the suggestion that you were the one who provided the men for the burial and also supervised the actual burial?
You see, let me make things very clear here. 1BN, as far as the CEO is concerned and I were concerned, was never taxed to take part in that activity. 1BN, I made it very clear that the CEO gave me instructions to continue the preparation for the Remembrance Sunday. It is only few elements from 1BN who defected by breaking barracks to join them and involve themselves in an act. This is why when I came and then I found them in that mood, very somber mood, I mean very sad mood, I decided to send them back to the QRF because that's where they're supposed to be. So you can see the people who, were taking part in the burial were members from the council and come back again. How can I, RSM Sanyang, in 1994, coordinate a job that was being done by Lance Corporals, private soldiers, when sergeant majors, staff sergeants, and sergeants are standing watching? Which army is that? Is it a kangaroo army? I cannot participate in, supervising a job when I have my senior interests standing watching me doing it. I would have preferred for them to do it than myself. Like I made it very clear when the CEO gave me the instructions that they said we have to continue our preparation for the Remembrance Sunday. What I did was I called my senior interns and then told them that, look, we are to continue the preparation for the Remembrance Sunday. It was there that I knew that some of our men who were issued with uniforms were deployed out. Then I told them, get ways and means of getting them back. Madam Counsel, you see, I will tell you, if it was not these dead bodies that blows the wave of confusion in that barracks to a high height, I was going to sit in my office and a senior intern will march and halt before me and tell me that, sir, the men are set for the rehearsal. But because of this presence of the dead bodies that attracted the activities, and then everybody found himself down there, that the senior intern could not come back to report for me. So if I was responsible of that activity, people were going to see a total, command and control system in place, because it will not be like that. I cannot be supervising or coordinating when sergeant majors, staff sergeants are standing watching.
Would that not also apply to RSM Gomez at the time, because he was the one supervising the burials?
For that one, you are talking about RSM Gomez. We are talking about RSM Sanyang. The way I do things and the way probably somebody does things is quite different. Members of the Gambian Armed Forces are watching me. They know who RSM Sanyang was. The way I do things is totally quite different from others. I mean, even the sister services, they know who RSM Sanyang was, and they know who Lieutenant Colonel Sanyang is.
So you are denying that you actually took...
It is not. It is practically impossible, ma. It's not possible.
You mentioned soldiers that defected. Can you provide more details to us of those who defected?
One, Kanyi was directly under me. Kanyi. He was directly, Alaji Kanyi, he was directly under me, well before the 11/11. But where he got the instructions, and then who allowed me to allow him to, embark on whatever activity he was doing, I don't know. It would have been better for him to say, well, it was RSM Sanyang who asked me to be in uniform, to go and draw my rifle, and then do this.
Can we just go back to the burial? Do you know how the burial was conducted? What actually happened? How did they bury these bodies?
Like I said, how the burial was conducted and how they got the bodies into the hole, it was never in my presence. I only went there when I found the process was at the tail end of it.
Did you witness the digging of the burial site or the graves?
Thank you very much for this question. Let me make things very clear here. You see those ditches. I, Lieutenant Colonel Sanyang, Staff Sergeant Sanyang, at that time, Bravo Company, I participated indirectly in the digging of those ditches. That was well before 1994. Nobody thought that 1994 will ever take place. What happened was that during those days, during the Nigerian time, we had serious problems with regards to toilet facilities in Unum Barracks. To an extent, one, soldiers were using primary school toilets. Unum Primary School used to be just behind the camp. Two, you either go to the married quarters or you enter the lime orchard. So now the command at that time deemed it necessary for us to come up with local latrines, toilets. Remember, we had two companies at that time, Alpha and Bravo Company. So well, they said, okay, both these companies must create its own toilet. So because of these two companies on the ground, I was a staff sergeant at that time, a staff sergeant and an appointed company quartermaster sergeant responsible for logistics and then stores. What was happening at that time was that the stores was centralized under 002 Kangakan, Greg. So what used to happen is that for me, that time, we will go to Greg, sign out these digging tools, bring them to our offices, and the men, let's say like my men of Bravo Company will come and then sign out, the sergeants will come and then sign out these tools from me and embark on the digging of those ditches. So when we dig those ditches finished, now for them to be constructed into toilets, it became a problem again. Financial, in fact, everything was kaput. Nothing, no money. So this is how the ditches were left like that. I cannot determine. Maybe it took 1 year before. So in the end, the men started using them as dumping sites. Like they would do their cleaning, get the rubbish, and start dumping it there. But that was a time when, in fact, they were being stopped because efforts were being made for the construction of those toilets. But things never happened. So this is how those ditches were left like that until when I left Yundum to Farafenye.
Other witnesses have testified that those ditches were dug on the day of November 11th. What do you say?
Like I said, in the end, they were being used as dumping site, and we all know what a dumping site is. Bringing rubbish, throwing them there. So maybe by the time that they wanted to carry out the burial, they noticed that, well, you have some rubbish inside, and they need to get those rubbish outside. So I think it's because of that, you know, maybe people saw those actions and assumed that they were digging them fresh. But those ditches were there months before that episode happened.
Did you witness any digging?
No.
Did you witness the burial of the men?
Like I said, at the beginning, I wasn't there. I came in at the tail end of the burial.
What did you witness?
The orderlies, you know, putting sand on those ditches.
So the ditches were cut.
Sorry, on that ditch. You know, there were two. The other one, that is the Bravo Company, because the one on the left was Bravo. The one on the right was Alpha Company. Bravo Company one was completely, you know, covered. So it was they were concentrating on one.
Can you just give us further details about the ditch that was already covered? Do you know what was in it?
Right. It was later known to me that that's where they buried Dotfal, Lieutenant Dotfal, Lieutenant Basiru Kamara, and Fafanyang. That is, if you face them towards the fence, the one on the left. Then the one on the right, that where they got the remaining bulk of the officers.
Can you then tell us what happened to the other ditch? Did you witness it being buried?
Which ditch?
Sorry, can you repeat your question?
Which of the ditches are you talking about? Your mic, please.
The open ditch. You mentioned that one ditch had already been covered, and it contained the bodies of Basiru Baro.
Yes.
And Basiru Kamara.
Yes.
And Dotfal.
Yes.
So the other ditch, that's the one I'm referring to.
This is what I'm telling you. When they were doing the burial, I came at the tail end of the process. That's the one I was explaining, that the orderlies, I found the orderlies doing the burial.
So what did you see? We just want to have an understanding of exactly what you saw. Did you see dead bodies inside?
No, no, no.
Had
no.
they already been covered?
They have already been covered. They already been covered.
So you came and met both ditches covered?
Yes. But at the one on the left, just at the finish, sorry, on the right, they were on the finishing touches.
They were in the process of
Yeah,
covering it?
finishing, yes.
Can we just go a little bit back? You mentioned the names of people that had defected. You mentioned one name, actually, and that was Kanye. Do you remember any other person that defected?
The other person I can say is Lamin Koli. Lamin Koli was seen at the burial site. So I don't know where he got the instruction from to abandon the clinic and then find himself at that site.
Why would you say that he defected?
Yeah, you know, like he was with us. He was with us. You know, somebody who defects. It's from you move from this point to that point, maybe based on your own personal interest or whatever, but on no grounds. Because as far as I'm concerned, movement of soldiers goes with instructions. That is to say, look, you do this. So if you move, it's like you are doing it on your own. That is maybe absenting yourself from place of duty, or like you break out of barracks. Because like breaking out of barracks is like the barracks, everybody is within that barracks, and then you decided that, well, okay, I should not be here, then let me move out. Snitch to move out. So obviously you will be considered as somebody who broke barracks.
Does the name Buba Jame mean anything to you?
Yes. Buba Jame, yes, he was the profo on duty that day.
He was the one that you met at the guard room when you were being detained?
Being detained, exactly.
Was he one of the defectors?
Buba Jame, yes, I can also classify him as somebody who defected. Because taking part in such an activity, definitely to me, it's like, as far as I'm concerned, one Ben was never taxed to take part, because this one is a purely state house issue. Not, you know, they were carrying out a mission outside and then, you know, doing the finishing touches in one BN.
Was he also one of the soldiers that was responsible for detaining officers? Because you met him at the guard room on that day.
When I met him at the guard room, you know, like if you enter in the guard room on the left-hand side, that's why I met him standing. But from there, I got inside, so I don't know what he was doing whilst I was inside the cells. You know.
Tell us what happened after the burials.
After the burial, we have another episode where Basiru Kamara, Corporal Basiru Kamara and EMCC were called upon from the cells, you know, and summarily executed. Let's
just get things clear in terms of the sequence of events. You've already mentioned in your testimony that Basiru Kamara was already buried in one of the pits earlier on. So if that is the case, can you just tell us how he came to have been killed after the burials? One, I will confirm that the killing took place. But the chronological in which it happens, the timings, whether before the burial or it was done, then buried together with these people, that's where, you know, I have doubt. But it happens. The killing actually took place in Yundum. Can you just describe the killings to us before we go on to that? Good. I was in the office when they came for these people. And they were also naked.
like no jacket, no trousers, only pants.
Where did they come for them?
Pardon?
You said you were in your office when they came.
They came for them from the guard room, to the inside the guard room. And then Bach was the guy, Bach Samba was the guy who in fact came and then requested them.
Like Samba Jallo.
Jallo. All right. So from there, they have been escorted towards the anteroom.
And you were watching at this point from your office?
You cannot, from the guard room, yes. When they were removed from the guard room, but as they start going, it's not possible for you to see them moving because it's like they are off site.
Please proceed.
All right. When they were taken out, the same process will continue. Shots were fired, and actually, I saw their bodies. So.
How did you come to see their bodies? Because you said you were in your office and they were
Yes.
being led away. So how did that happen?
Yes, like I told you. You see, for me, it's like I do move out to see exactly what is happening because an alcalo, like something is taking place and you are inside your office. So I was trying to avoid a situation where, something might have happened to me. So I went out to see because I have to go and then see what happened because shots were fired. There were no firing happening. So obviously, within a blink of an eye, shots were fired. Obviously, I would go and then see what happened. So this is what prompted me to go and then see. So when I went, it was another unfortunate situation. These guys were already gone down.
What did you see? What was the condition of their body?
Lifeless bodies.
Did you see the point of impact?
Cisse, I'll tell you the truth. Cisse, I think the shot was, aimed on his head, because you can see this part was completely open.
What about Basiru Kamara?
No, Basiru Kamara, I did not get close to him.
Can you, apart from Basiru Kamara and EMCC, the other bodies that had been buried, or perhaps before they were buried, did you see what condition their bodies were, or the impact that anything that happened on them?
The bodies that I saw in full were only 3. That is Fafanyang and these 2. The remaining bodies, like I said, were on the Land Rover. And I later confirmed that it was those officers that were taken, and eventually that situation in fact occurred.
So what later happened to the bodies of Basiru Kamara and EMCC?
They have been dragged to the ditch, and then, so this is what I cannot comprehend. This is like understand whether.
Do you know who dragged them?
The person who dragged them. I know Lamin Koli was there. Koli was there. And then also Mbub was there, Babukar Mbub. Yes.
What was his rank?
I think he was a corporal.
Sorry?
He was a corporal.
Did he participate in the killing?
I cannot tell because the killing was done when I was in the office. But I could see them around.
How about the burials?
The burial. Mbub. No, I cannot remember seeing him. But the burial definitely, it was the Odlis.
Okay.
They were the ones who participated fully
Where was Mbub based?
Pardon?
Mbub, where was he based?
Mbub was a military police personnel. If my memories can recall, yes.
Would you also say that he defected?
I'm talking about 1BN. One infantry. You know, Yundum is the home of infantry, but along the line, you have another sub-unit in Yundum called GAF Camp. And I was the RSM for one infantry battalion, the infantry. So GAF Camp is, a unit that consists of support elements. That's where you have medical, engineers, burn and drum, signal office, name it. But 1BN is purely the infantry battalion. So it is 1BN that I was in charge of.
Who was in charge of GAF?
At that time,
Yes, please.
the RSM, then it used to be 001, 002, Mamina Fati, but he's late.
W02, Mamina Fati.
Yes, he's late.
Just to go through what you just said, in terms of the deaths of Basiru Kamara and AMCC, you cannot recall the sequence of events or the chronology in terms of when they happened, whether they happened before the burial or after the burial. But you have described what you witnessed and the fact that these deaths occurred. Can you tell us if they were buried and how they were buried?
Like I said, I saw them being dragged to the ditch, and then they were buried.
Where were they buried?
That same ditch.
Which same ditch? There were two ditches.
Yes. I think because I think it's in the ditch on the left as you stand and face there. That's where they were buried. But definitely, anyway, they were buried in that ditch. To be more precise, sort of.
In what particular ditch?
I
know
think
there was a first ditch that you described.
Yes.
And the second one, the latter one.
Yes.
Which one are you referring to?
I'm referring to the one on the right.
Is that where Basiru Barrow was buried with Dotfal? Or the other one where all the other...
Yeah, where the others were buried. I think so.
If you can't recall, you can say that. I mean,
You know, it's a long time, and you know, I'm just struggling trying to recap or recall what actually took place and the chronological, the way you know it came in order of times in terms of times and.
meanwhile, let's just go back to the defectors. Was it normal for the GAF camp personnel to be involved in the burial? Was that normal?
GAF camp at that particular time, I don't know what was their mission. What was their task? I cannot tell. But for 1BN, our mission was to prepare for the Remembrance Sunday.
Were they around the camp on the day of November 11th?
Oh,
The GAF soldiers?
of course. A lot of people came just to watch.
Okay. But do you remember any of them participating in the burial?
Apart from Koli, no.
And Mbub? You mentioned Mbub.
Yes, Mbub. Yes, sorry about that. I beg your pardon.
Which Koli are you referring to?
I said Lamin Koli.
I mean, Koli was from GAF.
Yes.
Apart from these two, you don't remember any other person from GAF?
Like I said, a lot of soldiers came, and for your information,
from that unfaithful, day, with the happenings of that, incident, there was a wave of mass, exodus of or transfer of soldiers, especially TSG guys, who along the line, that was the very last day I saw them, and some, were transferred from the army back to the police because of, that incident. So even whereas you happen to see, a soldier down there, because of the mere fact that from that very day you did not set an eye on him, you will not be able to remember.
So let's just go back. The burials took place, and what happened next after that?
Well, when the burial took place, like I said, the council members who came back from the bush, all the council members, put the record straight. I recall now, the council members all came back to the camp, even the army commander.
Can you name all of them?
Yes, Captain Sana Sabali, the vice chairman, Captain Yankuba Ture, Minister of Local Governments and Lands, Captain Edward Singate, Minister of Defense, Captain Sadibu Haidara, Minister of Interior, the Army Commander, Colonel Babakar Jatta. They all came back, and then obviously my CEO, because of the fact that he must be there, he was also seen, alongside with them. But definitely for the CEO, it's like I can't help that things happen in that way.
Was Peter Singate there?
Peter Singate, yes.
He was there?
Sorry, yes, Peter Singate was there.
Okay. What role did he play at the...
There, during the burial, no. I don't see him participating in any activity. What happened before that, actually, I don't know.
Under what circumstances did you see him?
He was in combat with his rifle.
And what was he doing? Was he present when anyone was killed?
Was he present? Yes, he was there. He was in the camp. He was in the camp around the anteroom.
Did you see him participate in any event that happened on November 11th?
From the day of November 11. Actually, in the morning, I vividly remember now, he was on the ground, but the activity that he was doing, you could see him moving up and down, we could see him moving.
Let's just move on to, after the burial, the Remembrance Day parade. Did it go on?
Yes.
Just tell me briefly what the mood was on that day. This was the Sunday after November 11th, I believe.
No, November 11th was on a Friday.
Yes, so it was the Sunday after November.
Sunday
11th.
was on the 13th. After the episode of that November 11th, the morals of the soldiers was just under the carpet. Everybody was demoralized. Myself talking to you, it took me 2 days without sleeping. Seriously speaking. Then the men, there was total, low morals. And come again on Saturday, I'll tell you, from Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it was only Marong, the CEO, Captain Marong, who was the only officer in the whole camp, 1 BN. And then second is the OC military police, Elephant Fraser Juf. All the other officers, they were all killed. So the situation was just, you cannot just imagine. So from Saturday, that Saturday, we started to gather. The men were there, but officers were not there. So it was Maron who was, trying to, get officers here and there by, linking up with the headquarters. And finally, officers were provided. Then the parade took place on Sunday.
And wasn't it ironic that Remembrance Day was taking place just 2 days after November 11th, under the circumstances?
Say again?
Under the circumstances, wasn't it ironic that Remembrance Sunday was taking place 2 days after November 11th, when so many soldiers had died, which was the reason for commemoration of Remembrance Sunday?
You see, like I said, the Remembrance Sunday, it's a parade that is mounted to remember the dead. But this one is one unfortunate incident that happened, and along the line coincided also with the coming up of this the actual Remembrance Sunday. So it's rather unfortunate, definitely.
Let's move on from November 11th. Did you remain at Yundum Barracks after November 11th?
Yes, ma'am.
And how long did you remain there?
I was there throughout, from November 11, actually. I was there up till 1999 when I was redeployed to posted out to the Army headquarters.
Did anything happen around the 27th January 1995?
Good. November 11, after that episode, definitely things were, picking up in terms of normalization. But there was an unfortunate, situation that also came up. That is on the 27th of January, whilst I was in Yundum, the late Vincent Jatta, Captain Vincent Jatta was the CEO by then. I was called, that was around 2-3 o'clock to be more precise, in the afternoon. I was called, into his office. When I went there, he said I was needed in Banjul, but Lieutenant Fraser Juf was asking for me. So then I asked him, where is the US military police? He said, check him in the adjutant's office. I saluted him and then I went out. So I went to the adjutant's office. There I found Fraser Juf seated. I paid him compliment. And then he told me, okay, you are here. I said, yes. He said, anyway, you are needed in Banjul.
Who was the adjutant at the time?
Adjutant, I think it was Sow. Then Captain Sow.
It's okay if you don't remember.
Yes.
Okay,
So I met him. He said, well, I'm needed in Banjul. I said, okay. Then he said, I asked him, can I go now? He said, no, wait, a vehicle was coming for me. So he asked me to sit down. In fact, I was not allowed to go out. He told me, okay, no, sit down. A vehicle is coming for you. So I sat down. Then within a couple of minutes, I saw, Staff Sergeant Sambu came in. He too, when he came in, he said, okay, you are needed in Banjul at the headquarters. Just the same information. And he asked him to sit down. So that's where we sat, waiting for the vehicle to come.
And what happened next?
Within a couple of minutes, we saw two vehicles entering the barracks. Because in the adjutant's office, if you are there and then you look through the window towards the main gate, any vehicle that enters, you will see it. And if it turns towards the anteroom, you will obviously see it. But if it turned towards the east, you will not see it. So When these two vehicles came in, and they turned, like heading towards the anteroom, we saw them clearly. So they came and then parked. Then from there, I saw Alaji Martin. You know,
What was his rank?
Alaji Martin, I think he was a sergeant by then, a sergeant. But you know, they were not wearing ranks. State House personnel, they don't wear ranks.
So he was from State House, is that what
Yes,
you're saying?
yes.
Was he part of the State Guard?
Yes, State Guard personnel.
Okay.
Alaji Martin came down with some personnel. Then we were asked to go out by Fraser Juf, the Wasi military police. So when we went out, I saw him talking with Alaji Martin, and then he told him, okay, the two senior officers are here. So the two senior officers are here. So we were ordered to hand over whatever item we had in our possession. Then I was holding my pay stick. It was a notebook, sort of. So we complied and then handed over those our items. Then from there we were asked to board. Martin asked us to board the vehicle. So it's like we were all assuming that we are going to Banjul at the headquarters, because that's what we were briefed by Fraser Juf.
You know if you were under arrest at this point? You mentioned you were not allowed to leave. You were asked to sit down in one place.
The suspicious came when we were asked to hand over our items. Because if somebody is, going to Banjul at the headquarters on a normal route, even whereas you are carrying a bag, they will allow you to go along with the bag. But immediately when we came to the vehicles where the people were parked, we were asked to hand over our belongings, our items. So it looks strange, but nonetheless we just kept quiet and then complied. We entered.
You entered the vehicle, and what happened next?
So when we entered the vehicle, they also boarded the vehicle, and then
Who boarded the vehicle? Who
Martin and his team. Alaji Martin and his team.
And who was part of his team?
Martin, Kopundur was there.
What's his first name?
No, Ndur, but he's late now. He's late now, sorry.
And who else?
Senghor, Pa Senghor was there. Then the other personnel, I could not remember. But it was two vehicles.
Where is Pa Senghor now, if you remember?
Pa Senghor, he was with the NIA then before, now the SIS. So I don't know whether he's still there or moved out.
When did you last know that he was there?
Huh?
When did you last know that he was at the SIS?
No, that was before the change of the SIS.
Please proceed. Tell us what happened in the vehicle.
So we drove off. As we went past Denton Bridge, getting to mile 2, I saw, the vehicle started turning towards mile 2. I personally, I asked him, I said, Alaji, Martin, where are we going to? He told me, the way he responded to me, it was like very harsh.
How did he respond?
Yes, when I asked him, Martin, where are we going? He said, my friend, shut up. Don't talk. Just like that. I said, okay.
So what eventually happened?
All right. Sorry, I forgot to mention one person. Among the guys he came with, it was Bach Samba. He was the one who drove the vehicle behind. Bach Samba. He was the one who drove the vehicle behind. So
that's Bach Samba Jallo.
Huh?
Bach Samba Jallo.
Yeah, Bach Samba Jallo. So when he told me, my friend, shut up. You don't ask. So I kept quiet. So we entered in the prison yard and then went to their admin, area. So I saw Antu Sedi came out, and then they started, discussing Martin and then Antu Sedi. So we were asked to get out of the vehicles. So, in fact, when Intercity he saw me, he said, "Eh, Sanyang, for me, he said to me, "Hey, Sanya, what happened?" I told him, "Well, I also saw myself like this." But I remember telling him that, "Please, if you go, you inform my brother." I told him, "Please, Nitata, Afuna brother,
Were you detained? And can you tell us what happened before you were
Yes.
detained?
Now, their conversation, Martin's conversation with Antusedi, definitely, then we were in the vehicle. So when we were asked to come out, you know, obviously a search was conducted as usual. You know, then that was the time I knew that we were under arrest. So we were processed, you know, through their normal way at the prison yard. Then finally, you know, we were escorted to into the prison.
Did anything happen between you and Baksamba Jallo?
Immediately, for Baksamba Jallo, immediately when we got out of the vehicle, down from the vehicle, then he came and removed his pistol, told Martin, "Sir Oga Martin, Iblange finished." No, sorry, he said it in Olaf. So, like, leave me.
Please interpret.
Yes, he said to Martin, "Oga, leave me, let me finish them." You understand? He cocked the pistol. So it was Antusedi.
What did you understand that to mean?
Leave me to finish them, meaning that he was ready to kill us. So it was Antusedi who intervened by telling him that, "Look, Bach, you have to calm down, because these people are now under us. They are within the prison yard." So this is how, you know, he calmed down. So finally, we were, you know, taken into custody, and we are taken to the maximum confinement yard.
Was that the maximum security?
No,
wing?
maximum security wing, number 1.
What happened when you got there? Did you see anyone of significance?
No. When we went there, you know, first I was taken to cell number 12, you know, cell number 12. Then Sambo, I think he was in cell number, is it 7? So I was in cell number 12. So that's where so immediately when I was in the cells, I started wondering what must have happened, you know, for me to be arrested. So, and in that time also, I never knew that Sana and others were also there.
Who were Sana and others, please? Can you explain?
Captain Sana Sabali.
And who were the others?
Captain Sana Sabali, Captain Saribu Haidara, you have Private Jakaria Dabo, we have Babu Karinjai, we have Lamin Drame, you have Abdumane, you have Usman Sonko. Sorry, Omar Sonko. He was an orderly to Haidara. So they were there.
So what happened when you got to your cell?
Because it was late in the evening, before our process was, you know, completed. Then finally we saw ourselves in the cells. Then it was when I was trying to find out what might have happened to warrant my arrest. Then I begin to realize that, you know, people were inside, and then all of a sudden I noticed that Sabali was there, you know, who in fact was quick to tell me that let me calm down. So I could not understand what happened.
Lieutenant, please, unfortunately we are running out of time, and I know that what you're about to say is going to take a while. think the particular question I just wish to know now is what Sana Savali told you in terms of why you were being detained. Was he responsible
Yes,
for your detention
Yes,
at Mile 2?
yes. In fact, when he knew that I was injured, he told me that to calm down. Then I find out what happened. So he told me outright that, you know, it was when he was arrested and then severely tortured. So they asked him a question as to, you know, the people that normally goes to his house. He could remember, you know, mentioning my name, that I once went there, just like that.
Can you tell us what happened after that? After he mentioned that it was during torture that you were mentioned. We don't want you to go into, there's no need to go into details. If we can just move on to your own personal experience. Did anything happen to you in particular?
Of course.
And did you witness anything that happened to either Sana Sabali, Sadhu Haidar, or any other person that was detained with them?
So, well, to cut a story short, I also explained to him, but nonetheless, in 2 weeks' time, or in a week's time, you know, Sana Sabali was removed from his cells, and then we were told that, you know, he was taken for questioning at the admin block. Then he came back. The next, Hydra was taken.
What was Sana Sabali's condition or his appearance when he was brought back?
No, this was I think interrogation, not the other one. So, like, they were taken for interrogation and they brought back. But subsequent, after that, they came and they took Sana Sabali. But when he came back, it was a different thing altogether. Then, after that day, they came for Sadibu Haidara. The same process. Sadibu Haidara was taken. When he came back, Sadibu Haidara's condition was more even worse than Sana Sabali because he came under support. He could not walk. Then thereafter, that was the time they came for me.
Before we move on to you, just tell us what you meant by Sana Sabali's condition and the fact that Sadibu Haidara's condition was worse.
Sana Sabali's condition, in fact, you can see it on him that definitely he was malhandled, meaning that he was being tortured also.
What could you see?
Because you can see, you know, lacerations and there's also bruises on his body.
What about Sana Sabali? What
No,
did you
Haidara.
see? Sorry, Haidara. What did you
Yes.
see?
Haidara, when he was taken and then brought back, that one is a different story. He came under support by the prison officers who were on duty. And definitely it's like he was saying, as he was coming.
Why was he supported?
He was weak. And then you can see the body was rough.
Why was he moaning or making those noises that you
I
just
think it's
did?
because of the pain. So thereafter, they came. I was just there in the morning when Sergeant Ismaila, I think we call him Is, either Sanyang or Sanya, I don't know. He's a prison officer. Came and then opened my cell. He said, Sanya, okay, come. I came out. Immediately when I stepped out of my cell, he put my hands on handcuff. I said, what happened? He said, okay, no, we are going somewhere and then come. I said, okay. So we walked through the corridor. Outside the cells. As I stepped out of the cells, he put my legs on chains. You know, I could not understand. Then he escorted me to number 4. You know, number 4, maximum this is number 4.
Security wing number 4.
Security wing number 4. That's where he took me to. So as we were going from a distance, I saw Martin seated with some of his men. But about some steps before
Please
I met
clarify which Martin.
Alaji Martin, Sanya Alaji Martin.
What is his present position now?
He's the Inspector General of the Gambian Forces, Brigadier General Alaji Martin.
Let's proceed.
Some steps before I reach him. In fact, I received a knock from the back. Then, in fact, I lose balance and then, you know, fell down. I was supported to sit down.
Do you know what you were knocked with?
No, I think it's a blow, sort of. I started wondering how. Before you blow me, at least you tell me. Maybe you question me. If I refuse to talk, then that's the time to blow me. But anyway, so he started asking me, what do I know about Sana Sabali? I said, what? He said, what have you been doing with Sana Sabali?
Who started asking you?
Alaji Martin. Just like this.
You mean General Brigadier
Alaji, yes.
Martin?
Yes. You know, just out of blue like that. I said, no, I have not been doing anything with Sana Sabali. Just the fact that I went there to conduct guard changes. He said, no. We are told that you were, you know, trying to, carry out a coup. I said, who, me? So that was the time he now gave instructions for his men. You know, he said, look, handle him. So this handle him, all of a sudden I saw a plastic bag being put on my head and then tied it.
Put the plastic bag over
The
your
guy behind me.
Do you know who he was?
No. But two guys that I, in fact, confirmed. That is Senghor, Pa Senghor, and Ndur. Because Pa Senghor was on my
Give
left.
us their full names and ranks, please.
Sorry, we know him as Pa Senghor. And this Ndur,
Where is he now?
Ndur is late.
What about Pa Senghor?
Pa Senghor is alive. Sorry.
Where is he now?
I don't know. He's working with either NSIS or maybe
SIS?
drug squad. I don't know.
Is he with the SIS?
Yes, I think so.
Please proceed.
You know. He asked them to handle me. I said, what? They put that plastic bag on my face, on my head, and then just tied it. Started beating me.
Where did they beat you and how?
Huh?
Where did they beat you and how?
At my back, wherever. Just started beating me. Talk. You know.
Were they using their hands or any particular instrument?
Body, legs, and even the butt stroke. So, you know, you can feel, you can exhale, but you cannot inhale. You know. So I was in that struggle.
So you were being suffocated?
Of course. Then they released me. So when they released me, he said, look, talk. So Senghor and Ndur were the people telling me that, you know, RSM, you know, just say the truth so that we can release you. I said, which kind of truth? What have I done? You know. So it was at that point that I told Martin, look, why are you, beating me like this? What have I done to warrant this thing? He said, I have to talk. Talk what? He said, Sana Sabali. I said, no, I don't have anything to do with Sabali. I don't know. He said, okay, look, get him. So this time around, when they get me, it was more even worse. Because, you know...
Who said get him?
It's Alaji Martin.
All right. What about who was asking you to talk? Apart from Alaji Martin, you said someone else was asking you to talk so that they can let you off.
This is my Senghor and then Ndur.
Please proceed.
You know, so the same process came in. Put him back on me and then just tie the neck. So this time around, when they started beating me, the same process. I can exhale, but inhaling becomes a problem. So finally, I got fainted. I could not remember what happened along the line. You know, it's like I came blackout.
Would you say that Martin was in charge of your torture?
Ma, it is Martin. It is Alaji Martin. And you know, it's okay.
Please proceed, please. Say whatever it was that you wanted to say.
It's all right. You know, this time it got worse. I got fainted. But when I regained energy, it's like I noticed that I was breathing very fast. It's like when you run a distance of 300 meters with full speed and then you stop. You know, I was breathing very fast, and I became weak. You know, you cannot just understand. You know? So look at it. You can just see, look, my hand, in fact, before, I thought maybe this hand will never be correct. This is a handcuff.
Do you want to demonstrate to the commissioners or show them where it was that the
What is
marks
it?
you sustained?
Sorry to remove the...
Please, if you can go around and show the commissioners, please. How was that sustained? On your head? How did you... What were you beaten with? What were you beaten with on your head?
You know, sorry. You know, during that process of struggle, you know, I told you I got fainted, became blackout. You know what it means if you are blackout? Even if they come and pour petrol on you and then put fire, you don't know. I don't know. But I only saw this mark there.
How did you sustain the mark on your wrist?
Handcuff. I told you immediately when I was removed from the cells, this Ismaila put handcuff on my hands.
So how did the handcuffs manage to actually injure you? Were they too tight?
You know, at the end, the handcuff was so tight on me. I think during the process of that struggling, the thing was so tight on me, you know, you cannot just understand. I mean, so tight, very tight fight.
So it actually cut you?
Yes.
Was anything else done to you? Apart from the suffocation, the beatings, was there anything else that was done to you?
Please, like what?
Can you tell us? Did you feel any pain at some point? Did you feel something pierce your body?
You see, even as at now, I cannot understand what is in my body. When I was released, can I go ahead? Because you said we don't have time.
Please, yeah, before you were released, tell us how it started.
Yes, I had pains on me, and even at my back, I had pains.
How did you come to have those pains? Did something happen to you when you were being tortured by Martin? Did you feel
I feel like
being
something was put in my
injected?
body, so which I don't know. I don't know.
Did you feel that something was being injected into
Yes.
your body?
I don't know.
So what have the effects of your torture been on your life since then?
It's definitely unimaginable, and then, well, anyway, it has happened like that.
Have you suffered any health complications as a result?
You see my left shoulder going down, still now, wahala. That's a problem.
Please explain what you mean by wahala.
That's a problem.
What is the problem?
I still have pains.
What kind of pains?
It's okay. Serpents, anyway, serpents.
And where do you feel those sharp pains? On what part of your body?
At the back.
Do you feel them on your chest?
What?
Do you feel them on your chest also?
Yes.
Have you been to any medical facilities as a result of your of the symptoms you have actually suffered?
Thank you. You know, when I was released in 2005, sorry, 1995, the first person that tried to enlighten me as to what had happened during my dad's certification was Lamin Boja, Lieutenant Lamin Boja, now retired General Lamin Boja, when he was in the clinic. When I went to him, I explained my story and then told him that there was in fact, we went to an extent when in fact I got, fainted. And during that process, when I regained my energy, I became new. But then what I realized was I was breathing very fast, like, I ran for about 300 meters. All of a sudden I stopped. I became so weak. He just looked at me and then told me that you are nearly dead. Because if that process has continued, within, in fact, one minute or half a minute, you are gone. Well, I said, okay, so I nearly got into hell. So I explained my problems, and they started, giving me some medications here and there, and then that's it. But along the line, 1996, I went to Ghana to do my platoon sergeant course and then minor tactics course. That was in 1996. Take note, I was admitted in 37 Hospital in Accra.
Where were you admitted?
The same problem. Because I can feel, that there was an abnormality in my chest. And, in Ghana, when I was in Ghana, the training was so tense, and, you cannot bag out.
Were they able to tell you what the reason was?
I know. In fact, I forgot. I could not request any documents from there. So in 2008, when I went to Nigeria to do my, junior staff course, records are there. I'm always frequent at the college clinic.
Have you ever been diagnosed and told what is wrong with you?
I'm coming. So in 2012, back again in Nigeria to do my senior division course. Same problem. I went to America, Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Fairfax Hospital. I went there. They carry out all necessary tests. And the doctor, though they diagnosed it, just at my back here, but he said he noticed something black, that I should see a cardiologist. A cardiologist. That one is gone.
Did he describe this black material that he found in your body?
Then I went to Turkey. The same. Turkey, I did ECG, ultrasound, X-ray, endoscopy. You understand? Sorry, before that, before going to Turkey, Dr. Jaita, RVTH, now he's in Kenya. He used to work at Medicare, Afrimet. No, not Afrimet. Buffalo. He was the doctor who did this echo sound on me. The first time to do echo sound. Because I was advised by the doctor in America to see a cardiologist. I have all records. All these tests that I did, I have the records. I went to Turkey. All these tests were done, and then I have the records. Then, from there, just 2017, I led a platoon here to go and represent the Gambia Armed Forces in the Senegalese independence of 2017. CTO. I said, look, let me go there. I have the documents. In America, when I went, I was given a bill of $1,900 and something, $958.
Did the Army pay for it?
That is the question. Because when I was given that bill, I said, this one, how can one be struggling with $500? Now you are bringing a bill of 1,000 plus. I contacted, I said, look, this one, embassy, take it. But when I came, then I was at a training school. I wrote. First of all, I met the CDS, that is Masane Kinte before. Then from the training school, I wrote and then attached those documents and sent it. Whether the bill was paid or not, that one, I don't know.
Are you still undiagnosed as we speak? Do you know what the root of your problem is?
Well, right now, I'm not undiagnosed because, I mean, it has taken a long time and whatever, but I have all my documents.
Do you still suffer from the same symptoms?
Always, sometimes I do feel it.
So you have not been treated?
No.
When did your problem start, your medical problems? When did it start? When did you start feeling the pains in your back and your chest?
That is immediately when I was released. That is why I met, Lamin Boja. That is former ex-General Lamin Boja, when he was in the clinic.
Was that just after your torture?
Yes.
And before,
when I was released, I was sent back to Yundum to assume my position as an RSM.
And before that, you never had any back problems or chest problems?
No.
Would you say that Martin is responsible for your current
159,000%.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Witness. Thank you for your testimony. We'll stop here just to allow the commissioners questions to ask.
Something happened that definitely I was not the least happy. Just to cut it short.
Just in summary, because
very
we
short.
have run out of time.
Please, very short. I was one time posted in Yundum. On the 7th of September 2017, I was transferred from Yundum, posted to the joint headquarters under IG's office, and then appointed Martin's deputy, somebody who nearly took my life. Now, you are now telling me to go and then be telling him, yes, sir, good morning, sir, good morning, sir. Definitely, for that, I wasn't happy. First, I laid my complaint, my observation, that is to say, look, sir, this move, it did not go down well with me. The first person that I met was Colonel Kausu Sanyang. He told me, well, he himself, he saw it like that, but let me see the deputy. I went to the deputy, General Drame. When I sat with him, I explained my ordeal to him. He said, well, this thing is from the serious, but you can take it in good faith. Take it in good faith, what? For me to die under, stress and then, anger? Somebody who nearly took my life, and now you are telling me to go and then work under him? I said, okay, it's well and good, fine. Dhaka, when we went on this independence, the CDS, in his accommodation, we sat down, and I explained to him, sir, well, this is my problem. All right, so definitely it is very, very difficult for me, to work under somebody that, nearly took my life as his deputy. So I also, it told me that earlier, well, the government is trying to, do something, that is to say, well, this commission is coming up, and then wounds are going to be healed.
Is it correct that you're still working under Martin? He is your superior officer in the army. He's superior to you.
I have not worked under him, but before I was removed, I decided to take the bull by the horn by myself. And when they realized that, okay, things were, serious, that was the time they said, okay, oh, enough is enough. You go, just move aside.
What did you do?
I started following up. That is definitely I cannot work with him.
Under the army chain of command, Martin is your superior officer.
Very well. That one, in fact, this is why, I served there for 7 months, because I was very disciplined. With all that problem, I keep saluting him, yes, sir, and then pass.
Do you feel under threat currently?
Threat?
Yes.
All what I know is I'm a human being. I cannot be more than a human being. If there is anybody who is aiming at me, well done. I'll leave the person between him and then God. If I die tomorrow, yes, no problem.
The question was, do you feel threatened?
I don't feel threatened.
Have you ever had an opportunity to discuss with Martin what happened to you, about what happened to you? Did you ever?
You know, we've not discussed anything concerning that. But when we look into each other's face, volumes of, discussions have been done through our eyes of actions.
Has he ever apologized?
Nothing.
Has he ever shown any remorse for what he has done?
Nothing.
Thank you very much, Mr. Witness. I think we'll end it there and just hand over to the commissioners. Mr. Chairman, please.
Thank you, Counsel. Lieutenant Colonel Babukar Sanyang, thank you very much, for your testimony. And I'm sorry that you had to endure so much over the years. Commissioners, do you have any questions? Yeah, Imam Jallo, you have the floor, please.
Mr. Sanyang,
Sir.
evidence you said that when Quebec came to pick you up,
Sir?
when Quebec came to call you to go and answer,
Mm-hmm.
do not understand how a junior could instruct a senior officer. Later on, as things developed, you decided to move out of the camp and went back to your house. Why did you come back to service?
Thank you, Sir Imam. I decided to leave the barracks based on the advice I received from the military police, and that is part of their job, to ensure that there is safety in the barracks. They always make sure that there is no loss of life. That is the job of the military police. Secondly, when I left, during the period that I was in Lamen, there was no sign that, in fact, could have framed in my years that there was total disorderliness happening. So everything was quiet. So I feel, okay, since I'm a soldier, okay, this thing happens like that, then let me go back and then see what happened during my absence and what is happening there. Obviously, I have sent for the CEO to be informed. I must go there to see what happened so that I will be able to report to the CEO exactly what happened, if at all he was not there. So this is why I came back.
Thank you. Yes, Commissioner Jones, you have the floor.
Commissioner Jones. Thank you, sir. My first question is regarding the burial at the Yundum Barracks. What did you say was used to cover the graves or ditches, if you like? What was used to cover it or cover them?
No, it's sand.
Okay, you had mentioned that the ditches were dug much earlier than that day. So where did the sand that they used to cover the ditches come from, if you know?
obviously, during the process of very obviously they use shovels and pickaxe. So it is the sand that they gathered within and then be dumped inside.
Okay, thank you. How long were you detained for, and did your family know where you were at the time?
6 months.
6 months. Thank you.
And second is, yes, my family was informed because that very day we were arrested, I told Antusedi to inform my brother that this is what happened to me.
Did they have access to you, to visit you?
No, I was never visited. But when I informed Antusedi to inform my brother that this is what has happened to me, I think the following day I received some provisions. What I received was like, I think a towel, toothpaste, soaps, I think a pair of slippers. Anyway, I received some provisions.
Thank you. Commissioner Carr, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chairman. Just a follow-up question to one of the issues raised by Commissioner Jones. How did your detention affect your family?
You see, definitely it has affected the family in a sense. One, I was the breadwinner on daily basis, now that I was not there. And then secondly, the circumstances that led to my arrest and detention was never made clear to them. And, you know, what have I done? You know, actually nothing. And secondly, too, they don't have access to me. Since I was detained until release, you know, nobody had ever visited me there.
Thank you. My second question is regarding the food. We've had various witnesses tell us the quality of food. Were you served food while in detention, and what was the food like?
You know, to be quite frank with you, prison diet, it is only for the sake of sustenance that you take it. But if you want to consider on the quality, you will die. There is this slogan in prisons when they are serving meals, especially in the evening: wet or dry. Do you like it wet, or do you like it dry? Wet or dry is like they will bring the curry. You know, if you want for them to put sauce there, you tell them, then they will make it wet. If you want it dry, you tell them, they will bring it raw. So why we always go in for dry, it is like, it is a chance of you reprocessing it properly to, you know, meet your taste. That is one, you can, you know, have a chance of washing it properly, and then also maybe you may have some tins of milk or sugar or whatever here and there, then you can apply it. But when it comes as wet, the scent of the bonga fish that they will put on that food, if you don't be careful, by the time you open the plate of the food, you'll vomit first because of the scent. Because the bonga fish, Gambians, you know, if you don't cook it well, prepare it well and then cook it well, the odor is always not pleasant. I believe you understand what I'm trying to explain here. So this is the situation. Sometimes they are put, you know, sauce that, you know, definitely you will prefer eating only the cherry without touching the fish. Without touching the fish. Or most of us, we prefer the dry than the wet. So when it comes to eating sauce or maybe food very 5% delicious, it is when maybe probably there is an occasion because when we were there, 18 February, 22nd July of that year, we started eating meat, one piece each. So that one is part of congratulation for having a piece of meat on your food, and then at least you taste, you know, the meat for the first time. Then thereafter, maybe Christmas also, you will be given some, different diets. But actually, the diet was very poor, very, very poor.
The final question, what did you sleep on? What was the bedding like?
For me, cell number 12 was my cell. In fact, I later knew that it was later a cell that was also allocated to one. The name was familiar. That is Papier Chairs and Sec. Because if you enter there, just on top there, he wrote his name there. One, it is a plank that you'll be given. The very first day that we went, it was a plank that you'll be given, a wooden plank, then with one blanket. Then you have your tin for toiletry, and then you have your bottle where you put your water. So the cell is like, for us who are tall, it's a problem. If you cannot sleep whilst your legs are bent, then you will never sleep in mile 2. So for some of us, I cannot remember stretching and then sleep comfortably. So as time goes on, we become used to it. You know, that you don't think about stretching your legs, you bend them, and then you sleep. But actually, now it went to a time when the ICRC visited us. I can fully remember. And then the guy who interviewed me was called Mr. Hans. I think he's a German. So when he came, when they visited us, at least things got changed. We have, they provided a radio set. Then speakers were installed in the cells, but news time blackout, they'll off it. Then we were provided with newspapers, 2 months old newspapers. They bring them. They were brought. Then with novels, the ancient novels were brought. Those ones were the team provided. And then along the line also, Sankonsila, may he so rest in peace, also contributed immensely by providing new, toiletry pots, and then soaps, through the intervention of the ICRC. So things got improved a little bit, but the diet remains as it was.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Bishop Odiko, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chairman. Lieutenant Colonel Sanyang, who performed the burial ceremonies at the burial of those soldiers who were shot down, the officers who were shot down?
You mean at the firing site or the burial?
The burial site at Yundum Barracks, who performed the burial ceremonies?
As far as I know, there was no formal burial ceremony being performed for these gallant soldiers, so gallant officers.
Thank you very much. Bishop, you have some more questions? Oh. Okay, thank you very much, Commissioner Jammeh Cissé. The floor is yours.
Sanyang, I want to ask you, the soldiers that died, those that they killed, I heard the name of Basiru Kamara. What Basiru Baro? What was his fate? That is my question.
Abaraka, Imam.
Imam, what you said is what happened. In my statement, I have been speaking about Basiru Kamara. But if you see, I didn't call his name. I have not seen his corpse. And and I did not see when he was being buried. They just told me
like Basiru Baro
that Basiru Baro was killed and he was in a vehicle. So I took it that the vehicle that I saw parked
officers anti-room
by the anti-room, I believe his corpse was in it.
So what I can imagine,
because I didn't see him. When I came back into the camp, I didn't see him, I didn't know about him. That is why I did not speak about him.
Thank you very much. If there are no further questions, Lieutenant Colonel, do you have any concluding remarks to make?
Yes, sir.
My apologies.
I want to inquire about the burial. I believe what you said is not clear to me. You talked about two old ditches. And what you said, there were many people who brought in corpses. Dot Fall and others. You said there were two ditches, one was already filled. About the other one, the thing is not clear to me. So just tell us about what you know.
Imam Jerejef.
Thank you, Imam.
About
the burial, just as I said earlier on.
The
ditches, they were not the size of this table. They were big ditches.
All right. Sumane guy then sulbe pare. Then
if I said they were buried,
EMCC Basiru Kamara.
They were buried and then subsequently they killed EMCC and Basiru Kamara.
Betay.
Still now.
Guy mun nañu la sul fofu nonu.
It could be that they would be buried in there.
Ñu level pax bi.
And then the ditches would be leveled.
Te su fekkee ne dañ ko level boo xam ne dafa jaadu.
They level it in a proper way.
Boo moytu da nga ñëw nga tiim foofu noonu doo xam ne fii
it could be that when you come there you wouldn't know that there was a burial done there.
So noonu la.
So that is what it
dafa
is.
fees.
So if I say it was filled,
nekkut ne
it is not that
niw yi ñoo ko feesal.
It was because as a result of the corpses that were being buried there.
Wow. So léegi time boobu
at the time
waaye gars yi bu ñu reyoon gars yi ñoom Basiru Kamara ak EMCC.
When Basiru Kamara and EMCC were being killed,
pax bi feesut comme like dafa fees ba mun a tel.
At that time the ditch was not full to capacity.
Wow.
Yes.
So noonu.
So that is it. That is it.
Thank you very much. You may now proceed with your concluding remarks.
Thank you, sir. The chairman of the commission, the commissioners here present, the lead counsel, and your able assistants, the secretary and then the deputy secretary to the commission, members of the press here present, and ladies and gentlemen, and the nation. Sir, first of all, I would like to profoundly my sincere thanks and then appreciation to the government of the Gambia for the establishment of this TRRC. It is a historic moment in this country, and the TRRC has revealed and brought closer to the population the dark years of the Machiavellian's leadership styled unlash either directly or indirectly on all Gambians. The new Gambia have put to the sustained climate of fear, uncertainty, and the unpredictable risks associated with taking events the most basic decision in one's line of duty. What happened to the Gambians, either by design or default, is too deep a wound that we won't forget in a hurry event if we choose to forgive and move on. However, I would like to crave the indulgence of all Gambians, not allow the pains of the past to deter us from the sweet embrace of the future. My belief and conviction that the Gambia can emerge from the revelation of such unthinkable cruelty remain undiminished. Mr. Chairman, I, for one, have spent most of my life in the military, like many others. Looking back at my army career, I thank God for all the things that I have done right. In the same vein, I would like to also say sorry for the things that I might done wrongly, unknowing. The military profession is one key institution that makes so that its members are tried, tested, trusted with undertakings that have fatal consequences. Doing a job that pushes you to such limits sometimes makes one vulnerable in many ways. Furthermore, exposure to a tense and violent environment, even for a short period of time, could make the best trained officer culpable. This is by no means an attempt to right the wrongs of some bad elements of the Gambia Armed Forces, but a glimpse of some of the unpredictable circumstances that your brothers, sisters, fathers, uncles, etc. in arms confront almost on a daily basis whilst on operation. Mr. Chairman, the key factor for this gunfulness in the security services is undue civilians' influence. This is different from civilians' control of the security services, which we fully embrace and subscribe to. There should be a Directorate of Career Planning at the Defense Headquarters and a permanent, well-constituted commission board established. This puts officers and soldiers on a career path which shall be the benchmark for the commission boards to avoid prejudice and order on professional tendencies or inclinations. The Gambia Armed Forces Council, as captured by Section 187, subsection 1 in brackets, is yet to be established. This is different from the National Security Council, which is in existence. Lastly, government should seriously look into the terms and conditions of service for officers and soldiers. This document is critically is critical for the welfare of our personnel and is still being under review. And we still don't know when it is going to be endorsed for full implementation. I thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to give some remarks, and I hope that at the end of the day, Gambians will learn lessons from this Truth Commission and then use it to reconcile and unify our people so that the never again slogan will be attained. Mr. Chairman, on that note, I thank you very much. Thank the members of your able staff, the lead counsel, the secretary, and the members of the press who are covering these proceedings. On that note, I thank you very much for your kind attention, sir.
Thank you very much indeed for those concluding remarks. This brings us to the end of our proceedings for today and for the week as well. Council, are we lined up for witnesses on Monday before we break up?
Yes, indeed, we are lined up, Mr. Chairman. We can start on Monday morning at 10.
Splendid. We would then end the day today, and you have a wonderful and restful weekend. See you all Monday morning, 10 o'clock sharp. Thank you. Meeting is adjourned.
Yo, listen up, this is Christopher Martin, and I'm imploring you all to listen and understand that I will be in Gambia, live and direct.